My name is Jess Legato, and I am the Wildlife Rehabilitation Director. Autrey Mill has a lot of puzzle piece history. This was, rural farmland areas. The mill in Autrey Mill came from the Autrey family, and it was a grist mill that they took care of, and then they just kind of left the land and the mill to kind of break down. And the debris, Frank and Ada, in the 70s, they actually bought it. And on the property is this building that we're in right now. The middle section was an original barn. The visitor center was also an original tenant house. And then when Frank and Ada came, they actually enhanced the buildings. After a while living here, unfortunately Frank had passed away, and Ada had all this land and all these memories with her and Frank that she just couldn't be here anymore without him. So she turned the land over. There was all of this flourishing nature. It was a grassroots effort from the community and several community members who fought to not let this be torn down, because it was going to be the a water treatment plant. All of this was going to be mowed down. They fought really hard and then made a nonprofit, which is the Autrey Mill Nature Preserve Incorporated. And they got to sign over everything and got to have the preserve protected. So it's a lot of interesting little puzzle pieces put together to make the history. We have 2.5 miles of trails that all intersect in some way, shape, and form. They have been revamping our exploration zone with little interactive items, and there's different little homes from multiple cultures of Native Americans, nomadic or Creek Native Americans that were here on this land. And then we have our farm museum for viewing. We have the visitor center to view my reptiles. We have our outdoor animals. We have my ducks, chickens, bunnies, and goats. And then we have our gardens. It's just pretty also to walk along the trails and just get lost out there. I came in with, fists and we need to do more here. We've got to adapt and really help with actual conservation, because we're preserving land, right? So we're keeping it the way it is, but there's so much more we can do. I have this knowledge with animals. Let me take advantage of it. So I went out and got internationally certified in wildlife rehab and fought for 2 years now to make a wildlife clinic, to actually do active conservation. What wildlife rehabilitation is the intake of orphaned, injured, or ill wild animals, and then they are rehabilitated, which essentially means given medical care, and then brought back to the wild. But the difference is we want them to be independent and successful in the wild. We do not want them to rely on people. We do not want them to ever be captive. We want them to be wild. My babies. We have 31 babies, and I love the babies. See, when I first came, they were called animal ambassadors, which is true. They are animal ambassadors, but I quickly, call them just now babies. They come from so many different things. They're our little island of misfit toys. So some of them were rescues, some of them were just pet trade adoptions, bought adoptions, and then some were rehabilitated and then brought. For me and all wildlife rehabbers, we don't want them to stay with us. We never want to keep a wildlife rehab case. We want them to live their life as successfully as it should be. Autrey Mill started doing educational programming basically as soon as it became a preserve. We have several different routine programs. So that's our preschool adventures, our homeschool adventures, cooking and crafts, Feeding Friday, and then our seasonal and summer camps. Everything else there is a level of education with our ambassadors. Sometimes our ambassadors are used in education to talk about the ecosystem as a whole. Sometimes they're being highlighted as just animal biology in general, or going over classification, taxonomy, or that species specifically. An interesting way that I tend to educate with the most is the stigmas around animals. We get a lot of people who come up to me and they say, I'm afraid of snakes. And I always tell everybody, the truth is there's no such thing as being afraid of an animal. Nope, not the truth. There's no such thing, because people are actually afraid of the unknown. What my babies here do is they help build a personal connection with people. I try really hard to work with each individual, because everybody's different, just like animals, to build a connection, because once you have it, then you care more. It's not just giving the kids education, it's just seeing them being able to connect to something bigger than. And the thing is, if you're the instructor, if you're the guide, and you're excited, they're excited. Early childhood development and being out with nature is very important. Once you find something that they can specifically connect to, it's just this ingrained thing that you'll see in every kid. And that, at the root of it, is exploration. We love to discover. We love to explore, even if it can be nerve-wracking, right? The unknown. We are excited by Autrey Mill and nature. So when the kids come out and they learn and they discover, the kids love it, because there's so much of the world they haven't experienced, because nature is so diverse and unique. It's an organic thing. There's still something in there that you've never seen before, even in your backyard, that is always going to be exciting and worth caring for. If you love nature, animals, discovering, please visit Autrey Mill. Look for me. I'm always running around crazy. I'll be in scrubs probably, or covered in dirt. So please visit autreymill.org. Review my wildlife rehab page. Review our pages on our history, on the staff, on our programming, and get involved.